people came up looking for gold, and they did find it.
This place is said to be the hottest and coldest spot in the Yukon, but is it true?
The second largest silver production of North America.
I found the most remote abandoned car yet. Free camping. Rockhopper here, and I'm in the far-flung interior of the Yukon. So let's check out the mostly inhabited town of Mayo and the mostly uninhabited town of Keno. The village of Mayo in central Yukon is billed as the territory's site of the most extreme temperature fluctuations, the hottest and coldest place. I decided to research this further, and I'll let you know what I found in a little bit. The road to Mayo is mostly paved. Welcome to Mayo. Mayo, population about 450, was named after former acrobat and circus clown turned settler and explorer, Alfred Mayo. Alfred Henry Mayo, aka Captain Al Mayo, was born in Bangor, Maine in 1847. We've got a fox in Mayo. Here's a bald eagle alongside the Mayo River. Free camping here in Mayo at McIntyre Park, right beside the river. Some firewood somebody left here to burn, so I got a little fire going right here tonight. It's a pretty sweet little deal. Good morning. Let's start it out by having a look at the Pioneer Cemetery here in Mayo. This was the land of First Nations people who hunted and trapped game prior to Europeans arriving in the area. Gold was discovered in the region in the late 1880s and later silver. Mayo was only accessible via the Stewart River until a highway was constructed in the 1950s. The town was originally established as a river settlement in 1903 and became the service center for significant mining activity in the area. Silver, zinc, and lead ores were loaded on sternwheelers at Mayo to be shipped to Whitehorse. The Silver Trail, a scenic highway that begins at Stewart Crossing on the Klondike Highway, travels through Mayo and leads to the mining camp at Elsa and the small community of Keno City, which we'll explore soon. Brightly colored school, charter bus, residential areas, and some places that exude a kind of history. The Mabel McIntyre house, built in 1921. Maybe you'll find that Mayo is a good place to park it for a while. I like the warning sign that's on this house. Let me show you. Though it might be out of the way, Mayo is your basic town, has your basic amenities. It has a swimming pool, like this one. It's open in the summer. Right now it's drained. Mayo holds the Yukon high temperature record based on June 14, 1969, when the thermometer peaked at 36.1 degrees Celsius, which is 97 degrees Fahrenheit. The lowest the temperatures ever dropped in Mayo is minus 62.2 Celsius, which is minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, recorded on February 3, 1947. Mayo also holds the Canadian record for the greatest range of absolute temperatures, a difference of 177 degrees Fahrenheit, one of the greatest temperature differentials ever recorded. If you think it's worth $3, you could take a tour of the house. I could have just looked at my grandmother's old house. But is that the coldest temperature ever in the Yukon? There's a place that reputedly got colder. I'll tell you about it in a bit. We've left Mayo behind and we're heading toward Keno, and I think there's a little place called Elsa as well, so we'll have a look at that. And the pavement has ended just a few miles beyond Mayo, so we're on the dirt and gravel now. And it looks like we're getting into some more rain. Rained all night last night. It's rained pretty much every night for the past 5 nights. And when I was camped just outside of Dawson, it poured for hours with massive thunderstorms, dumping a lot of rain. It's raining so hard outside of Dawson City, it's like I'm going through a car wash. There's thunder and lightning, and it's just kind of going crazy. There's a lot of nice lakes between Mayo and Keno. A small monument tucked away in the bush here to Livingston Wernicke. There's a sign here talking about the mining community of Elsa And I'll show you across the way what's probably left of it. This is the Elsa School. Let's see if we could find a way in. That's as far as it goes. We're inside what was once the gymnasium, and it's filled with a lot of boxes. They might be core samples. We can have a look inside and see what's going on. Some sort of mineral samples, I guess. Continuing on into the school. Lots of papers strewn about everywhere here. Let's go up these steps. It was a pretty big school. You get the chalkboard right there. People who've come in here over the years, writing their names on there. Lots of Canadian Living magazines from 1985 through 1987, and some other magazines here as well. And there's a lot of papers and magazines all over this place, just cluttering it up. Everywhere you look. What's up on the wall here? Salaries? Have a look in this room. Class is in. This room's a bit dark. They've got the windows covered, boarded up. Stuff on the counters, cleaning, liquids and such. There's actually a bathtub in here. It's around the corner. Nothing, just a window. Somebody's hat. Here's some of what else is left of Elsa. Here's a look inside one of the old buildings. Huge shed. There's lights on, and I think there's people up here, so I think it's off limits. I think I better get out of here. A little more Elsa here for you. Another building here. I'm not sure what this might have been. Living quarters for the workers, maybe? Let's go on inside the big green metal building. Might as well have a look since we're here. Yeah, it looks like it was probably workers' quarters. Each room probably had a housed worker, and got the bathroom here. Yeah, I would say that's what this was. Could have been a motel, but I don't think so. I don't think anybody's going to want to come and stay at a mine site exactly. Yeah, it's a pretty old fridge. Deep freeze. Let's adjust the coldness. I guess it could have been a hotel. People might have had relatives who wanted to stay here and visit the workers. Looking back down the valley toward Mayo and looking the other way up the valley. This is what you first see when you're coming into Keno. You might look like this guy after driving too many of these roads up here. Okay, well this is the museum and plenty to see here in Keno. Keno has a year-round population of about 12 people, which swells to 20 or so during summer. Tourists, miners, film crews, and others mosey this way during the warmer months. Keno City was named after the gambling game Keno, popular in mining camps at the turn of the 20th century. Its attraction is the Keno Mining Museum, with an extensive collection dedicated to the history of mining in Yukon. This gas mask looks a little bit creepy, and there's your instructions there. You can just come on into the local library and have a seat and help yourself to just read whatever you would like that's in here. Stay as long as you like. The library was formerly the Anglican All Saints Church, built in 1952. Now, this is Mike here in Keno, and he's renowned for making pizzas locally, and very good ones, I might add, according to the local populace. Now, Mike, he's actually grown up here pretty much almost all his life, and started here at 3 years old. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your life here.
It's had a lot of ups and downs. Basically, I was planned up here, up in the top of the mountain, Galena Hill, Hector Camp, Calumet back in the day, in the early 60s. And then my mom went back to Italy, and I was born in Italy, southern Italy. And she brought me back to this country when I was about 3 years old. So I've been here on and off since 63, 64. And my dad worked at the mine, at the silver mine, for over 30 years. So it's Keno City, Elsa, Calumet. This was the area that I spent a lot of my childhood and grew up and worked. And I've wandered away many times, but I always keep coming back because there's something here in this area, the Silver Trail, that keeps bringing me back. I'll have more of my interview with Mike, but first let's have a look around town. You could buy the Sourdough Roadhouse Bar and Grill if you like. I don't think it comes with the dog, though. In general, Keno has more of a feeling of rusticity and history than Mayo. Discoveries of silver and lead ore in Keno Hill in 1919 caused Keno to grow into a bustling mining town that experienced the booms and busts of the mining industry for decades. When the Keno Hill mine abruptly closed in 1989, many residents left, leaving behind relics of a mining industry that spanned over 70 years. There are numerous displays about the mining in the region that took place here. I've had my pizza business here for 28 years. I used to be the director and project manager for the museum, the Keno City Mining Museum, for about 12 years. And, try to keep the history alive, and yeah, it's just been like I said, a roller coaster of experiences and challenges over the years. I'm still here after all those years.
Now, did you have anything to do with the mines yourself?
I worked various aspects of the mine. Growing up as an employee's son or daughter, you had the opportunity to work in various aspects of the mine. So I worked everywhere from underground and driving train to the mill. I was a blacksmith for a few summers and worked in the machine shop, mechanics helper, worked in the carpentry shop. So wherever they put you, if you're interested in getting an apprenticeship or whatever, you can get an apprenticeship. But I was always had ants in my pants, so I would work and make a bunch of money and then wander across Canada and stuff like that. So.
It looks like there was once an old wooden bridge here crossing the stream back in the mining days. Many of the structures in the area appear to be used only seasonally, and then maybe not even that much. They're just locked up and closed up. What are some of the most noticeable changes you've seen in the region?
Well, the most noticeable is that back in the day, the mining company used to take care of families in the way of housing and all aspects of their existence up here. You know, people that had wives and kids or whatever could bring them up, and the company would provide housing and this and that. Now the mining has changed dramatically in that it's all fly in, fly out, and they don't provide housing for families anymore. So you get quite a transient population coming through. You know, and back in the day, it was more like you know, a small town and all the infrastructure set up, like the rec center and beer parlor and the curling rink and all that kind of stuff. But now, is a totally different policy in that you sign, when you get hired onto the mine now, you sign a contract and no drinking or whatever, you know, drugs or whatever, and you basically leave. People are come up here from all across Canada and leave their families behind instead of bringing them up here. And so it's a totally different aspect. So the mine does not, other than a few people that come here once in a while to try something different, we don't really, the community of Keno isn't really on their radar in the way of, they're not allowed to come here at night type thing and, you know, use the facilities like, or sit and have a pizza or whatever. They're basically, when they sign a contract, they have to stay in the camp, mining camp. They're not free. Back in the day, the guys used to get off shift and go fishing or hunting or whatever. That's not part of their. They can't do that anymore. You know, so it's sort of a different dynamic to the whole situation.
So in the older days, it was more like a real community then.
Yeah, several communities. There was, I mean, people worked out of Mayo, worked out of Elsa. Keno City had a base population with families and stuff. So now it's, I mean, kids in this area are almost non-existent, other than a few people that have properties that live in Whitehorse or wherever. They bring their kids up once in a while, but there's no young people here per se. The youngest person in town is maybe in their early 40s right now, and then there's this aged population that's, you know, up to, I think the oldest fellow here is about 82, something like that. So you know, there isn't any real opportunities for a young family to come up and, with their kids and stuff. You know.
Now there's a car you don't see every day. It looks like it was a Pacer that was turned into a high clearance four-wheel drive.
When the mine shut down 89, 90, there was a handful of us that stayed behind and we wanted to preserve the history and stuff and keep living here and that. So we survived. I mean, we had some funding from the government and stuff and help us with preserving the history. But in the back of our minds, since we grew up in Elsa and the mining community, we thought, oh, once the mine opens up, then, you know, the families come back and this and that. But when the mine did open up, we soon realized that it wasn't going to be like, you know, set up like the old days. So, and I mean, you know, having a business or whatever, we thought, oh, you know, the families will come here for pizza or this or that, and that was soon. We were soon made aware that that's not going to be the case. So it was a bit of a struggle. Our reality was, you know. The times had changed, and so we adapted to what. So I've been in business for 28 years now, so I've adapted and I've survived against all odds, but I'm hanging in there. It's been a nice hobby.
Looks like someone put a layer of bottles on this house. So it's not a true bottle house, but it is a bottled house.
Or dial the number you are calling.
The ski hut. You can stay overnight in the ski hut for $10 a night. It's got bunks and a nice wood stove as well as a picnic table in the back there. And you can sign in to the guest book.
At one point, this area was the second largest silver production of North America. I mean, the early 1900s, there was a lot of people came up looking for gold, and they did find it. And there was a bit of a gold rush happening up there. But after Dawson, there was a lot of people that didn't strike it rich in Dawson and ended up coming up this way. So the initial rush up here was with gold. Nothing comparable to Dawson in the way of grandness and whatever. But what people were finding is they were finding the gold in the early 1900s, but they were also finding silver, like the galena, the silver, lead, zinc. So that's something that the direction that they went. At one point, early 1900s, there was a big silver camp at the top of Keno Hill. It's so where the signpost is now, and there was a few hundred people working at that camp, and that sort of started the silver history of the area. And I mean, there was a lot of independent prospectors and that around the area, and they finding lots of silver. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was just right above ground. They didn't have to look very far. But it wasn't until the larger companies like Warnicki up the mountain and United Keno Mines bought out all the little guys. That's when things went into big production. They opened a couple of mills and this and that, and so I mean, basically the silver mining history goes back to the early 1900s, and it went till 1989-90, where the mines all shut down, and they were dormant for a while, and now I mean there's a 300 man camp in Elsa again, and even after all the years of mining, they found some good high grade silver, so there's still lots left.
And Elsa was one of the biggest communities in the region, is that right?
Yeah, it became the community in the region, whereas before, like in the 50s and 60s and stuff, there was 4 or 5 different camps, like Warnicki, Keno 700, and Oneek Camp, and a few where they used to have bunkhouses and this and that. But in the later years, everything was brought to Elsa. The whole infrastructure. They had the main cookhouse there. They had all the bunkhouses there. Everybody from there would go to the different mine sites, rather than servicing, in different mine sites, in the way of having, all the infrastructure set up. Elsa became the hub.
So Elsa was basically a mine town, a mine community, a town within itself, essentially. And that went for until, you said, 89?
89, 90 is when they started shutting
it down.
I've got a good picture of it. Have you seen the picture of Elsa?
I don't think I have.
I've got a nice picture right up here. This is it here.
And that's, what year would you say this is?
So that picture was probably from the late 70s, early 80s.
So that's the mining community of Elsa right there?
Yeah, so there's rows of housing, and I think it shows the mill in there, and the main infrastructure. Yeah, there was a grocery store for the community, and a beer parlor, and a curling rink, and a little bit of everything. This area was provided a lot to the economy of the Yukon over the years. Basically kept the Yukon going for many years. And now it's all being with the prices of gold and silver up again. This area is becoming very important again to keeping things going.
Now, as far as like drinking water and such, do you have to have it trucked into town?
We do, unfortunately. We did have our own well up until a few years ago, and they attempted to clean it out, to flush it, and they ended up collapsing it. And by doing that, there was a lot of minerals, that natural mineralization of the area that contaminated the well. Like there was high amounts of different minerals that weren't present in the past. But yeah, I mean, the fact that this area again is a very has been mined, and various minerals are extracted in that, and so the water, the remaining residue in the water and stuff there's huge levels of cadmium and this and that. and it's all natural. It's just that it's not. It makes the water, undrinkable in huge amounts. But
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of natural elements present, like lead is one, and cadmium and others.
so if it's controlled, it's using a controlled setting or whatever, and it's not disturbed, it's fine. But once you start stirring it up, it's becomes a problem. So yeah, we get water delivery from Mayo 3 times a week. It sort of takes away our independence, though. I mean, water is life. But as kids, we used to drink right out of the creeks, streams, and stuff all around here. So most of us are still kicking.
While filming this video, I met the crew of the Gold Rush TV series that airs on Discovery Channel, and I got to hang out with a few of them, get to know them a little bit. I wanted to introduce you to them and tell you a little bit about them, or have them tell you a little bit about themselves and their relation to the TV show. But they are not allowed to do that due to legal agreements and such, so I'm sorry I don't get to show you them. I just mention that I did meet the film crew. I was told by a local that this was the old RCMP building, and that back around 1920 or so, they used to handcuff offenders to a flagpole that's no longer here, regardless of the time of year, whether it be mosquito-laden summer, rainy fall, or frigid winter. Back then, Keno was the rough and rowdy town with saloons, gambling, and brothels, and that attracted people from nearby Elsa. Well, what do you know? We got snow behind Keno. Good morning. A cold, frosty morning. Now, there's just one last thing I want to go and do. I was told I've got to go to this place. So, I'll show you what that is, and I hope you like it too. Before we head to the next place, first let me show you something just down the road, not too far from where I parked for the night, and I could hear it from where I was parked. This is the mine. The residents of Keno have had several issues regarding noise, but thankfully for them, the mining company has been receptive to addressing those issues and do try and monitor the noise now. There's a definite odor in the air here. It may be diesel fumes, but yeah, it's a pretty strong odor. We're on our way. It's a nice sunny day, though it's cold. It's a good day for a drive. And you can see a lot of things now that the clouds are gone. So we might see something really cool very soon. We're definitely gaining some elevation here. The fall color is coming in nicely. Should really kick in because of the frost. This is amazing. You can probably see for 50 or 60 miles from up here. The rain cleared out anything that was in the air, and it's just crystal clear. I am surprised, however, that I can still hear that mine from way up here. We're taking a little side road because I want to check out an old abandoned structure that looks like it's from the 700 mine. Let's have a look at this place. What I've gathered by talking to people is that this was probably built around the 1920s. Let's have a look. Low ceiling. Just a small, simple place where somebody once bedded down. You can still make out the print on the mattress, the White Whaler Inn. I just turned the mattress over and the print is much more visible since it hasn't been exposed as much to the elements. onward and upward up the Signpost Road, and I see some beautiful mountains all snow covered to my left. Let's have a look at that. Another monument to a miner, this one to Alfred Schellinger. We've reached the signpost and an amazing view that I'm going to show you. And this signpost just tells you how many miles or kilometers it is to each place in the world. So let's have a closer look at that first, and then I'll show you the view. More little mining cabins down below. A frigid Yukon wind has kicked in and it's making my hands numb. I see something off in the distance, but I can't quite make out what it is, so let's go have a look. I found the most remote abandoned car yet. Hey buddy, did you not see the no parking sign? And by the way, your registration is expired. That's some seriously thick moss. Here's another old shack. Let's have a look. What's that say above the door? Perfect me? Well, let's go on in. Looks pretty old and rustic. Yeah. What's left of an old stove. Must have been the bedroom in here. Floor is just crumbling to bits. And that's it. An old can down there. Looks like the remnants of a magazine. See if we can decipher maybe how old this place is. By the magazine it looks. Okay, I'm looking at that picture there. And that looks like 1950s, I would say. How to improve your appearance. In 1947, the town of Snag, Yukon experienced a temperature of minus 83 degrees Fahrenheit, which is minus 64 Celsius. It was so cold you could hear people speaking from 4 miles away, along with other phenomena, such as people's breath turning to powder and falling straight to the ground and river ice booming like gunshots. I hope you enjoyed exploring the historic towns of Keno, Mayo, and Elsa with me on the Silver Trail in Canada's Yukon. Don't forget to give me a like on the video, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Rockhopper. I'll see ya.